Hello there. I'm Priscilla, and today, I want to share the beginning of our adventure, how Aquila and I started our life in Corinth. Picture this, we had just been kicked out of Rome by Emperor Claudius, who decided Jews weren't his favorite people anymore. So, we packed up our things and ended up in Corinth, a bustling city full of trade, travelers, and, well, a lot of chaos. When we arrived, setting up our tent-making business was our first challenge. Now, you might think making tents is straightforward, but let me tell you, our first few attempts were a disaster. Aquila once sewed a tent flap to his own tunic, and I managed to stab my finger more times than I can count. We joked that our tents had more holes than the ones we were supposed to mend. One day, while struggling with a particularly stubborn piece of canvas, a man walked into our shop. His name was Paul, and he, too, was a tent maker. Paul had a way with words, and not just because he was an apostle. He convinced us to let him help, and soon, our little tent shop was running smoother than ever. It wasn't long before our partnership grew beyond business. Paul shared stories about Jesus, and his passion was infectious. We spent our days making tents and our evenings talking about faith. One night, while fixing a tent pole, Aquila turned to Paul and said, "You know, Paul, these tents might not last forever, but what you're teaching us? That's built to last." It was a funny yet profound moment that summed up our newfound purpose. Living in Corinth, we met all sorts of people. Some days, it felt like we were the main act in a traveling circus. But amidst the chaos, we found stability in our faith and each other. We laughed a lot, especially at our early blunders. Like the time I tried to use a tent peg as a hairpin, let's just say it didn't end well. After getting our tent-making business up and running in Corinth, Aquila, Paul, and I embarked on an even greater journey, spreading the gospel. It was like going on a grand road trip, but instead of seeing sights, we were sharing faith. Our first stop was Ephesus, a city full of merchants, philosophers, and curious onlookers. Traveling with Paul was never dull. Imagine trying to preach in a marketplace with vendors shouting, children running, and animals causing a ruckus. Paul, however, was unshakable. His words cut through the noise like a sharp knife through tough canvas. One memorable day, we set up our tent in the marketplace to attract a crowd. As people gathered, we started to talk about Jesus. I remember Aquila making a pun about being intense about our faith, which earned a few laughs and many puzzled looks. It broke the ice, though, and soon people were listening. Ephesus was a mix of excitement and challenges. One time, while Paul was speaking, a vendor accused us of stealing his customers. "They come for tents, but leave with tales of some Jesus," he shouted. We couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity. In response, Aquila crafted a tent for him, free of charge. It was our way of showing that our work and faith went hand in hand. As our message spread, so did the opposition. We faced debates, doubts, and even danger. But in those moments, humor and faith kept us going. There was the time a strong wind knocked over our tent mid-sermon. Paul, without missing a beat, quipped, "The Holy Spirit must be reminding us to always stand firm." It turned a potential disaster into a memorable lesson. After our adventures with Paul in Ephesus, Aquila and I settled down there, turning our home into a hub for believers. It was a time of deep growth, both in our faith and our community. Our home in Ephesus became more than just a place to live, it was a sanctuary. Imagine a cozy, bustling place where people came to learn, share stories, and find solace. We often joked that our home was the busiest tent in town, always full, always welcoming. One evening, as we prepared dinner for our guests, Aquila said with a grin, "We've gone from making tents to making friends." It was true. Our evenings were filled with laughter, debates, and heartfelt prayers. Our table, laden with simple but hearty meals, was the heart of our ministry. Paul often joined us, and our discussions would flow late into the night. There was one memorable night when we debated the nature of faith over a particularly stubborn loaf of bread that refused to rise. "Patience," Paul said, is like waiting for bread to rise. It takes time and faith. We all laughed, but the lesson stuck with us. Ephesus was not without its challenges. There were times when opposition to our message grew fierce. Yet, we faced these trials with a blend of humor and unwavering faith. I recall a particularly heated debate in the synagogue, where Aquila, in a moment of quick wit, said, "Our faith may be new, but it's as sturdy as the tents we make." It diffused the tension and won us some respect. Our ministry in Ephesus taught us that our true work was not in tents, but in hearts. We were laying foundations for a community that would endure long after the tents were gone. Each person we met, each story we shared, was a thread in a larger tapestry woven by God's hands. As I reflect on these years, I see how our simple beginnings led to a legacy of faith and friendship. Our story, filled with humor and hope, is a testament to the power of faith and the importance of community. For those eager to learn more, I encourage you to dive into the Bible. There, you'll find not just our story, but the stories of many who came before and after us. Thank you for sharing this journey with us. Thank you for joining us on our journey from tents to testimonies. If you enjoyed our stories, please like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring biblical adventures. Don't forget to ring the bell for updates and share this video with friends and family. Check out our other videos for more captivating content. See you in the next video.